So we're going to break our individual skills of exponential functions down a little bit so that you can practice each one separately. This first short little video is about how to just understand the exponential equations a little bit more. So we know that all exponential functions have the same format of an equation, and that's y equals a times b to the x. Remember that the a, or the number that's in front, is always your starting value, which is the same as your y-intercept, and the b is your common ratio. And remember, your common ratio is what is the pattern? Am I multiplying every time? Am I dividing every time? And then specifically, what number am I multiplying by and what number am I dividing by every time? So let's look at a couple of examples. The first example is y equals 0.25 times 3 to the x power. So my common ratio. To find my common ratio, it's always my b value, which is always whatever has the exponent on it. So my common ratio in this case is 3. And remember, what that really means is that the pattern of this function is that it's multiplying by 3 every single time. My y-intercept, I'm looking at the front of my equation. It's going to be 0.25, so that's my starting value. And now I need to decide, is this going to be a growth or is it going to be a decay? Well, to figure out if it's a growth or a decay, I have to look at my common ratio. If my common ratio is bigger than 1, it's going to be a growth. If my common ratio is less than 1, it's going to be a decay. So if my common ratio is 3, well, that is bigger than 1, so this is going to be a growth function. So my function's starting at 0.25, and I'm just going to go times 3, times 3, times 3 to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The explain for this part is I want to put that my common ratio was greater than 1. Let's look at example number 2. Y equals 1/4 to the x power. We have to find the common ratio. Well, most of our equations normally have 2 numbers in them. This equation only has 1. It has this 1/4 in it. But since the 1/4 is connected to our exponent of x, that's how we know it's our common ratio. But to find our y-intercept, which is normally in front of our common ratio, we have to ask ourselves, well, what number can I put in front of anything without changing it? Oh yeah, that's the number 1. So our y-intercept, or our starting value, is 1. Now we have to decide, is this a growth or a decay? Again, we're looking at our common ratio and deciding, is it bigger than 1 or less than 1? 1/4. That is a fraction, which is less than 1. So this is going to be a decay. And I know this because my common ratio, again, is smaller than 1.